Are you going to vote for Harris? Well, as a left-leaning liberal that registered independent a year ago and left the Democratic Party, you would think that would be the reason, that would be the choice, right? But no, I'm actually going to vote for Donald Trump. You see, I was a virtue signaler, had the flags, wore the bracelets, as the LGBTQ. But what I wasn't allowed to do was be my authentic self. You see, I had prejudices and I had views that were politically incorrect. And the reason I was virtue signaling is because I was actually afraid to express those views, because I knew the people on my side, on the left in the Democratic Party, would attack me and abuse me if I did express those views. So one day I realized that I was keeping those views inside and not expressing them out of fear. It wasn't the only reason, but that was a big reason why I decided, hold on, there's something wrong with this. That I'm afraid to express my views in the United States of America. One day I criticized someone on Facebook and they told me, hey, look, that's what you're doing is virtue signaling. And I looked at it and I'm like, holy shit, they're right. I am virtue signaling. I was regurgitating what other people told me to think and to believe. And the opinions I had of my own, I didn't feel safe enough to express. But I did anyway, because that's the masochist in me. For some reason, I love stress and can't get enough of it. So on this TikTok channel, a couple years ago, I started criticizing the left. And exactly what I thought would happen, happened. They attacked me, they disowned me, they told me they couldn't be my friend anymore. And it was critical of the left, not any particular person, but it was also, I started expressing my views that were less politically correct. And I started losing a bunch of people who I thought were my friends. Some of them I knew personally. And it didn't feel very good. It took a while to get over that. But when I looked back at my virtue signaling, I realized that I had double standards for racism. Like, I was tolerating it against white people because that's what leftists did. I was against it and I would vocalize it if it was done against black or brown people, but I would keep my mouth shut if it was done against white people because that's what we were told to do. And if it wasn't told directly to us, it was almost implicit. And the sexism against men. We weren't allowed to say anything critical of women, but the left would say anything about men, and that was completely okay. And I started to see what this guy pointed out on Facebook, the virtue signaling, the double standards. Because my virtue signal, the morals that the left taught me really only went skin deep. And in my view, those views only existed to obtain the votes that they need. It's to signal to other groups of people, to the gay people, to the trans people, to the black people, hey, look at me and my bracelet. Look at me and my flag. I'm your friend. I'm your ally. But then last summer, that Jason Aldean song came out, Try That in a Small Town. And I grew up in a small town, so I kind of understood what he was talking about. And black conservatives were coming out and saying, no, he's absolutely right. You should not be holding up a liquor store. You should not be hijacking an old lady's car at a red light. And then I saw it en masse for the first time because I opened my eyes and was willing to see it. That the left didn't care about anybody's race at all. They only cared about their allegiance to them and their ideas. And like they had completely disowned me and abandoned me and left me, they did the same exact thing to the black people that didn't agree with them. Fast forward to October 7th, 2023, when Hamas committed genocide against Jews. Oh, not just Jews, Arabs and other people in Israel, out of just complete cold blood. And then I saw it for my very own eyes, just the kind of wickedness I was following. I had long left the left at that point, but I was still questioning where I stood. And then I saw it for my very own eyes, how they started treating Jewish people on campuses, college campuses, how the left started treating Jewish people all over this country, and how the people on the left that weren't necessarily engaging in it, the congressmen, the senators, the representatives, they weren't saying anything about it. They weren't standing up for them en masse. They weren't defending them. They were trying to justify it. And I remember thinking to myself, like, they always say they're against sexual assault. And I remember CNN's Dana Bash interviewing Pramila Jayapal on CNN, and she asked her this question. She's like, you guys are always saying you're against, sexual assault against women. And here it is happening to Jewish women, and you guys are silent. And Pramila Jayapal went on the defense and tried to backpedal, and it's not authentic. What I thought I was standing for was right. Even though it was shallow because it was virtue signaling, what I thought I was doing was right. But I wasn't able to look at myself and realize I'm suppressing parts of myself. So this particular group that says I'm right by following them doesn't fucking attack me. And again, that was another affirmation, another confirmation that I was following the wrong people. So now I'm 1 year out and RFK launches his presidential campaign, which I didn't get on board with for a while because I was believing the rumor mill and the smear campaigns against him. And then I started watching him and I'm like, holy shit. This guy is everything I stand for. And the Democratic Party did the same exact fucking thing to him. They abandoned him. They left him. They kicked him out. They smeared him. This guy was exactly what the Democratic Party claims they're supposed to be standing for. And they got rid of him too. So I ended up falling in love with this guy as a candidate. And I still love him. But then he had to suspend his campaign. He realized he didn't have a shot at beating Trump. So he joined forces with Trump. And then I already started reevaluating Trump from what the leftists had told me about him in the past, because that's what I did with everything at that point, because I knew the left was lying to me. But then I actually started listening to MAGA. I started listening to the things Trump had to say, the stuff that the media lied to me about and told me about Trump that were wrong, to smear him, to make him look like a racist or a misogynist or a pig or something like that. And I realized how much of this is just the left propaganda machine lying to me, trying to trick me. And then I saw the censorship of free speech against the RFK, against Donald Trump on X, Twitter. I saw them trying to jail a political opponent right before the election. I saw them bypass a primary, overthrow a guy that the Democratic Party voted for in favor of somebody that nobody voted for, all in the name of saving democracy. And it just starts piling up after a while. And you realize, I recognized a long time ago, but after a while, you can't not see the bullshit anymore for what it is, because it's bullshit. What they're feeding you, what they're feeding us is bullshit. It's virtue signaling. It's shallow. In my opinion, it's mass narcissism. I've studied narcissism for years. To me, everything on the left is mass narcissism. I mean, it's almost identical to the personality disorder, but unfortunately, it's en masse. So that's kind of where I ended up, and I'll be getting my Trump yard sign here in a few days and putting it up. And I also have an RFK bumper sticker on my car, so that'll be interesting. Luckily, around here, this is majorly Trump country, so there won't be any issues. But that's kind of how I feel.